everyone, Nary here from Drakewing Gaming. So if you know me on Twitter, the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of Far Beyond the World. So the last place we left off, it's been a little while. Oh yes, we were out in the forest with Trist. Just having a merry little time getting to know this little bunny. Man, he has a lot of personal problems, but I can understand why. He has been through quite a bit of trauma. But anyway, guys, let's jump right back into it and see how this meeting goes with the elders. I'm very curious about that. Oof. Not good feelings about this one, guys. Alright, anyway, let's do it. The bunny grumbles, shaking off his paws if he wanted to be rid of my cooties. Elders were furious at Varissa's little stunt. They boycotted the feasts ever since your presence was discovered. They want their displeasure widely known. So that's why I haven't seen any old wolves there. Sending you into the villa to that private meal is going to provoke a reaction. Although I am scared of the wolves, I am hardly intimidated by some geriatric beastmen. What are they gonna do, berate me? We'll be fine, just don't fuck me over. Right back at you, human. Just as we finish our little exchange, I notice a small opening in the canopy, which allows more of the light to flood into the woodland tunnel. There are two tall columns on the left side, flanking a pathway leading away from the Sylvan Road. Just as we take that turn, my eyes witness the most unexpected of sights. Ooh, beautiful. Holy crap! I gasp in astonishment as I finally get to see the villa. It completely throws me off, as I did not expect it to look this sophisticated. What's the matter? I'm not sure what I was expecting, but this is something. Looks very Romanesque. Romanesque? You would understand. I chuckle, shaking my head. It's a remnant of the old kingdom, left to rot in the woods like a dozen other Leonin residences. This one doesn't look rotten. Renek's grandfather began restorative efforts. By the time your master was born, it was pretty much completely refurbished. I frown a little as he calls Rannick by master, but I guess that's what he is in official capacity. Does this mean Rannick grew up here? Of course. I'm surprised that the wolf chose to live in his cozy little cottage while he could have just stayed here. His father even invited him back when I was hiding in the chest. This place could easily pass off as a palace. As we walk down the courtyard, I look at how well kempt the hedges are. It must take a lot of work to keep this place well maintained. I should know. I'm the one doing it now. Yes, sorry about that. It is what it is. The rabbit shrugs as we pass next to a small fountain planted in the middle of the yard. There are the kitchens and the stores. Trist points to the right and then turns my attention towards the left side. That's where the wards live. Obviously, you're staying with Rannick now, but should you need to find help, that's where they'll be. I nod, noticing a slight bitterness in his voice as he mentions my current accommodation. I want to apologize, but he suddenly stops as another bunny leaves through the large portcullis. Now it's a good time for you to shut up. Hey, Trist, what took you so long? A slender... Oh, girl, okay, let's go back and do that. Hey, Trist, what took you so long? A slender female calls out as she carries a basket of linen towards the kitchens. The human is as dumb as a mule. What can you do? I dart my eyes to Trist in slight annoyance. Yeah, he looks kind of daffy, doesn't he? Yup. He laughs it off and waits for the female to go about her business. Was that necessary? I muttered through my clenched lips. Oh, poor Kit. You need a thicker skin to serve here. I don't think I like that insinuation. Too bad, 'cause those wolves don't care. Come on. He waves at me and we walk toward the doorway. As we pass beneath the portcullis, I notice an inscription. I can swear it's Latin. Vertvit filgita Vertvut vulgita domus. Somehow I know what it means. In virtue a house shines. How fitting for a place Rannick grew up in. Huh. Interesting. As we enter the villa, my eyes take a while to readjust to the sparse lighting inside of the enclosed corridor. Ooh. I blink, trying to regain my vision, and am immediately taken aback. I'm amazed at how perfectly the building blends simple, functional architecture with a few elaborate details to create a refined aesthetic, and the atrium stands as a testament to that. I'm most fond of the sizable pool collecting the rainwater from the opening above. The recliners on each side seem quite comfy. This looks definitely Roman, and I'm starting to get more and more confused about the whole deal with this place. I watch water lilies dance merrily on the mirror-like surface and smile. If I hear la-di-da from him ever again... Listen very carefully, and I shall say this only once. When inside, you'll be very much on your own, so tread carefully, he utters in a worried whisper. You know the chief and Vithir already. They have their days, but the elders are a different matter entirely. They're not to be trifled with. Especially not Aldris. She's the mean, fat one. Then there's her childhood friend, Dran. Be careful around them. I nod. They're both... Alright. Worse yet, they're very observant. Wow. You can ignore Enelle. She's a senile old she-wolf and spends most of the time either sleeping or daydreaming. Triss takes a deep breath as if trying to muster his courage. Since you understand their language, try to ignore verbal cues. Only respond to gestures. I know, I've been discreet so far. He scoffs at me, giving me a patronizing look. If you call that embarrassing display at the feast discreet, then we're both fucked. Right. Here goes nothing. Oh boy. Triss sighs and finally leads us into the next room. Ooh. Oh my, how opulent. I nearly gasped, taking a step back at the sight of what I assume is the Great Hall of the Chief. The space is grandiose, and with 3 columns on each side propping up the elevated rooftop. I look around, taking in the light cascading from up above and seeping in from a set of windows on the far side. I spot the throne as we approach the middle of the room, which features an open hearth surrounded by tables. Yep, definitely old people. The gathered took notice of our arrival, 5 wolves in total. The chief sits comfortably in the central chair, leaning to his left side and clearly discussing something with Vithir, who replenishes his drink. I haven't seen the other wolves before, not even at the feast. It would seem they're all enjoying an afternoon snack aside from a solitary slender old female, which is either dead or asleep. I'm guessing that's Enelle. Finally! I thought the damned rabbit had bolted! Fetching our own wine grew tiresome. A stubby, nasty-looking she-wolf speaks in a rather unpleasant tone, drawing my attention to the right. Dran. Is Dran also female? Yes, Dran is female. I thought that was a guy. Huh. They don't do that after we made an example of the last one. Her rounded neighbor replies, and they both laugh sardonically, causing my skin to crawl at the remark. It would seem one of the Sylvan folk tried to quit his place as a ward. I guess it doesn't work that way. So this is the human. The female muses, straining her ant-sized eyes in my direction. Just the sight of that thing makes my bowels churn. I very much doubt you can see me, you old bat. Why is it dressed like that? Is that a sapphire set in gold? I thought he was found naked. If your bowels churn now, perhaps it's for the best he's dressed at all. Vithir laughs, allowing his voice to rumble across the hall. Quite right. The female nods, picking through some niblets on one of the plates. Wait, what is this? She suddenly mutters, toying with something in her paw. You damned fool! She nearly howls at Triss. I told you to bring me dates! These are figs, you idiot! The old female throws a hard lump towards him, hitting the bunny on the chest. As a projectile plops to the floor, I look down at it. I might not know how a candied fig would look like, but that there is a date clear as day. That bitch needs some spectacles pronto, and by the by, get her attitude checked. The bunny nods apologetically and rushes off behind one of the doors. I swear, if she throws anything at me, I'm going to secretly spit in her food. Use shorter sentences, please. The old male... Oh, that is the male. Okay, Dran is a guy. Okay. The old male mutters, rubbing his temple. I cannot stand the sound of that language. It's like your tongue is swollen and you're choking on it. Not this again. I really need to be extra careful. I cannot distinguish their language hopping. In all honesty, it feels as if I'm being pranked. You! Monkey! Come here! She calls out to me. Come here! She reiterates when I'm not speedy enough with my reaction. I approach slowly, standing next to her chair. The old hag grabs my hands harshly, pulling closer, almost causing me to trip. She twists my wrist to reveal the size of my palms and leans in. For a second, I think the female is about to lick them, but now I see she's squinting to better see. Good thing about those furless beasts is that it's quite easy to gauge who they actually are. She speaks, smacking her lips. Skin, you see. Without fur wears off easily. She finally shoves my hands away, forcing me to take a step back. This one hasn't worked a day in their life. Hardly true. Vol did take me through my paces, and I did clean Rannick's house twice over now. I'd hardly count that as hard work in their life. A noble, then. Here we go again. And you say he doesn't speak neither Vanar nor Freyr? No. Curious. Triss gives me a worried glance as he returns with another bowl. He bows respectfully as he presents it to the female. She plucks one of the dates and munches on it impatiently. Good, good, much better. She waves at him dismissively, while I regard the other plate on the table. It's the same fucking thing. As I roll my eyes, I feel a paw run through my lower back, causing me to jump up in shock. That dress is quite impressive, not to mention the belt. Doesn't it strike you as a bit insulting to have a slave walk around in such finery? Bingo! So the distinction isn't lost only on me, but on the wolves as well. Ward my ass. How did Rannick even afford this? Scandalous. I wouldn't know. As far as I remember, Rannick's pay remains untouched in the treasury. Perhaps you should look in on this. Your boy seems to have sticky paws. Since when spending one's own coin amounts to stealing? Why would he waste such fortune on... Sorry, guys. Had to swallow. It wasn't Rannick. That dress was bought by Vulgar. A long gush of red wine sprays across the room as the old male chokes on his drink. His coughing's real bad, and I nearly allow a satisfied smirk to escape me. I'm pulled out from my stupor by the sound of the female snapping her fingers at Trist. You! Clean! She claps her paws, and her utterly contemptuous tone starts to irritate me. I watch with pity as Trist nods and rushes to the side to fetch a water bucket and some cloth. You! Her annoying voice now echoes in my direction. Wine! She points to the old male's chalice. Wine! She reiterates, as I decide not to respond. I'm dumb after all, no? By the moonlight, wine, you pathetic wretch! She growls at me, mimicking a drinking motion. On the outside, I simply nod gracefully and walk towards the side cupboard to pick up a jug, but on the inside, I'm screaming. Trist points out with his hand to the correct flagon, and I nod to him gratefully. I begin to really feel sorry for the bunny. I do hope this level of abuse is not his daily bread and butter. I'm betting it is. I approach the old male, waiting a moment to allow him to end his coughing fit as he struggles to keep his cup on level. Finally, I just refill it. That's when the female pushes her cup in my direction. I have half a mind to spill the wine over her head, but I know better. Also, I wouldn't want to add to Trist's load, seeing as he frantically scrubs the floor. Once both their drinks are replenished, she waves me away and I step to the side. What's this nonsense about Vulgar buying a dress for a human? The male finally wheezes out. He nearly drowned in that wine. Nearly. What a pity. I doubt it was intended for the human, as that was over 5 years ago. He asked me to help him shop in Strandbard. Why would he want to buy a dress? I don't know. Rether shrugs indifferently, only to snigger. Maybe he likes playing dress-up at night. He had the coin. The rest is no business of mine. The female growls softly, annoyed that he dodged her question. And how did that expensive Tiggery dress end up on this human filth? Again, I don't know, nor do I care. He responds nonchalantly. However, I can see a slight shift in his expression. Why don't you ask him yourselves? I'm sure Vulgar would love to indulge you. He proposes cheekily, and both elders simply cough it off in this typical geriatric way. Oh, God. I can have him stripped naked if that dress bothers you so. However, considering your gag reflex, the chief adds in a mocking way, but I don't find the joke funny. Yes, yes, Varric, very droll. Shall we then return to the matter at hand? Better wake her up, or is she finally dead? The old male points to the third elder seated on the other side of the room, and I wonder the same. She's such a frail, ancient-looking female, and I didn't pay her any mind for the lack of movement. Enelle, he calls out. Enelle! Enelle! The hag next to him shouts out, while throwing a candied date at her target. Oh, God. Oh! What was that? What's happening? Finally, life stirs into the old she-wolf. We were discussing Rannick's scouting mission. Rannoch is Varric's son, right? Or is it the other way around? The female asks, and I just open my eyes wide. Is this for real? What are you talking about? How could it be the other way around? I'm sorry, I'm only paying half attention. I'm only half paying attention. Haven't you been paying attention for the past 20 years? Ugh. Get her some wine. Should clear her head up. He points to me, and although initially I want to react, I remember that I need to double down my dumb act, so I just stand still. You! Wine! The man nearly growls, and that's when Trist gets up from the floor, dropping the wine-stained rag back into the bucket. He approaches me and takes the jug from my hand. The bunny walks towards Enelle to fill her cup, while the two nasty elders glare at me intensively. What's the point of that idiot? Of what possible use could he be to Rannoch? My son seems satisfied with his service. He says he's a good attendant. The chief shrugs, taking a sip of his wine. Attendant? The hag scoffs. He's more like a pillar. Pillars are at least nice to look at. Ugly damned thing. Ruins my appetite. Trist gives me an empathetic look as he passes by to return the jug to the cupboard. Oh, this wine is absolutely lovely. What year is it? Last year... Oh, sorry, Vithir. Sorry, I'm doing you a disservice. Last year, love. It's a young cask from my own reserves. It does hit the spot, doesn't it, Valorous? She smiles to the pudgy female, and her eyes open wide in annoyance. I'm Aldris! Oh, so you are. Enelle gives her another kind smile. Seriously, she's always bringing up my bloody sister. It's like she's trying to wind me up. I struggle to contain a chuckle, seeing the hag so easily upset. We're going to starve here at this pace. Vithir grumbles and waves his paw gently at the bunny. Trist! Chickens! His voice, although loud, carries a rather polite tune. The bunny nods and bids me to follow him into the side room. The shelves are stocked high with different jars and containers. At a quick glance, it's obvious the chamber serves the role of a pantry. The two tables at the side are stocked high with different dishes, cold meats, fruits, veg, and a raw poultry. It's not cooked, I whisper, poking at the squishy chicken breast. Yeah, we'll need to do it on the spit. Can you fetch it? The one from the main hall? The bunny nods and I shrug, returning back to the sprawling room. Back to the point at hand. What are we going to do about patrols? We can't send packs blindly into the woods. We don't even know what's happening at the border. I walk slowly towards the open hearth, trying not to draw too much attention to myself. I'd say we need to call in other alphas. Call in the outer alphas. Isn't that a bit drastic? Drastic? We've lost 2 packs in the northern reaches. I retrieve the long prong, careful not to burn myself with it. We haven't lost them. We know where they are. We just lost contact, which is a whole deal different. The subject of the conversation catches my attention, and I'm trying to be as tardy as possible while still remaining inconspicuous. We told you to wait another week before starting a panic, and yet you ignored us and sent Rannoch on a rescue mission. I didn't send him. I actually advised against it, but he volunteered anyway out of duty. Can't stop an alpha from trying to locate his missing tribes wolves, now can we? Because of his departure, the entire village is talking about them as if they were dead. Yeah, witnessed that myself. What if they are? If the worst comes to pass, having outer alphas mobilized is the right course of action. This is exactly the type of hysteria that leads to disaster. Young hot-bloods uprooting civil governance through brute force. Are you suggesting I'm planning a coup? I stop in my tracks and gaze towards the chief, whose expression betrays he very much is losing his composure. Whether you plan to or not is beside the point. Warriors gathered in one place and left idle inevitably lead to unrest. Psst! What are they doing? Trish waves at me from the pantry, and I pull myself out from the depth of my daze. We will deal with this as we always have, with patience and clear mind. As I enter the room, I close up the doors, but not quite, still very much intent on eavesdropping. Rannoch should be back in a few days. If the packs perished, then you'll be able to mobilize the entire tribe. Until then, we just wait. What's going on? They're talking about Rannoch's scouting mission and some political stuff. I mutter, passing him the spit and listening on.
Either way, I doubt Vortigern has any designs on Tiernan. He's preparing for another raid, most likely. Which is more the reason to stay put. If he decides to target the Tiggery, the last thing you want is having an army amassed in your village.
I've heard the word Tiggery. Please tell me those idiots aren't planning another war. The bunny whispers while impaling the chickens onto the prong one by one.
It will make us look like accomplices. You of all wolves should know that tigers do not distinguish easily between us. I was a pup then. I've seen what they're capable of. You don't want to invoke the wrath of Tigeron.
Especially not on account of someone else's foolish endeavor. I don't think so. Alright guys, I'm gonna pause it right there. Wow, I already don't like them. Well, the Enelle, I like her. She's nice and sweet and seems about as attentive as a houseplant. But I don't even think she's noticed Orien at all. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Leave a super thanks if you can, or a tip, also known as a tip. It always helps. But thank you guys so much for watching. I was about to go into the whole thing again. I love you all. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye!